Welcome back, seekers of wisdom. Today we're exploring a principle that's as ancient as time itself: when to remain silent. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote extensively about self-control, patience, and the virtue of silence. Silence is a strength, not a weakness. And sometimes it's the most profound response you can give in certain situations. Before we begin, let's anchor ourselves in the wisdom of the Stoics. It is better to remain silent than to speak and remove all doubt of your ignorance. With this in mind, let's dive deep into the 9 situations where silence is not just recommended, but necessary. Let's start with our first lesson. When you're angry. Anger is a powerful force. It can surge through your veins like a raging storm, blinding you to the truth. Marcus Aurelius understood that the mind clouded by anger cannot see clearly. When we react in anger, we are essentially relinquishing control to someone or something outside of us. Have you ever noticed that after an outburst, you often feel regret? It's because anger is fleeting, but its consequences can last far longer. Consider this. If someone insults you or treats you poorly, your instinct might be to retaliate. But remember Marcus's words: the best revenge is to be unlike the person who wronged you. Reflect on the power of this statement. By choosing silence, you not only deny the other person the reaction they seek, but you also preserve your inner peace. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but rather channeling them into something constructive. When you're confronted with anger, try a Stoic exercise called the view from above. Imagine you're looking down at the situation from high above. In the grand scheme of things, how significant is this moment? Will it matter a year from now, or even a month? By gaining this perspective, you detach from the heat of the moment. Instead of reacting, you respond with calm and clarity. Let your silence be your strength, a testament to your control over your emotions. When you don't have all the facts. There's a reason why the Stoics valued the virtue of SelfReflection, or self-restraint. In our rush to judge, we often miss the nuances and complexities of a situation. Picture this. A friend cancels plans on you last minute, and your first reaction is to feel slighted. You might jump to conclusions, thinking they don't value your time or that they're unreliable. But what if they were dealing with a personal crisis? Marcus Aurelius believed in the importance of epike, suspending judgment until you have all the facts. He reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Before you pass judgment or voice an opinion, take a moment to pause and reflect. Silence is often the wisest response when you are uncertain. Think of how much conflict could be avoided if people were more willing to say, "I don't know." There's strength in acknowledging the limits of your understanding. In these moments, your silence shows humility, patience, and the wisdom to wait until you're truly informed before making a decision. In the face of gossip, gossip might seem harmless, even entertaining. But Marcus Aurelius would tell you that indulging in gossip erodes your character. He believed that we should focus on our own development rather than criticize others. When you engage in gossip, you're not just speaking ill of someone else. You're revealing your own insecurities and weaknesses. Imagine yourself at a social gathering where the conversation shifts to criticizing someone who isn't present. It's tempting to join in, to bond over shared criticisms. But Marcus Aurelius would ask you to consider, why do you care what others say about you? Be content to walk in your own path. By choosing silence in such situations, you demonstrate strength of character. You show that you're not swayed by the opinions of others, nor do you need to tear others down to feel better about yourself. Silence in the face of gossip is a quiet protest against the negativity that can poison relationships. Instead, channel your energy into constructive conversations that uplift rather than degrade. When you are tempted to brag. In our world today, where social media amplifies every success, it's easy to fall into the trap of boasting. Marcus Aurelius, who had every reason to brag as the most powerful man in Rome, chose to live a life of humility. He believed that true greatness does not need to be advertised. Imagine achieving something you've worked hard for, a promotion, a fitness goal, a creative project. The desire to share this accomplishment with others can be overwhelming. But ask yourself, why do you need others to validate your success? Is their praise what truly gives your achievement meaning? The Stoics teach us that self-worth comes from within, not from the applause of others. Marcus would say, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. The next time you feel tempted to brag, take a step back. Practice silence. Let your actions and results speak for themselves. The people who truly matter will recognize your achievements without the need for you to broadcast them. In the quiet of your silence, you'll find a deeper sense of fulfillment. When you're listening to someone's pain. In times of sorrow, it's natural to want to offer advice, to find the right words to make everything better. But often, those words fall short. Marcus Aurelius would counsel that in such moments, silence is far more powerful. When a friend is grieving or struggling, what they often need most is a compassionate presence. The silence that accompanies genuine empathy can be a balm for the soul. Consider this: when you sit quietly with someone in pain, you're giving them the space to process their emotions. You're not trying to fix them or change how they feel. You're simply there, bearing witness to their suffering. This kind of silence speaks of profound respect and love. The next time a loved one is in pain, resist the urge to fill the silence with platitudes. Instead, offer your presence, your willingness to listen. The Stoic idea of sympathia, a deep sense of connection and empathy, reminds us that being present for someone in their suffering is one of the greatest gifts we can offer. When criticizing others, criticism often comes from a place of insecurity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to turn the lens inward before judging others. Think about a time when you criticized someone harshly. Perhaps a colleague made a mistake, or a friend made a choice you disagreed with. The impulse to correct or condemn can be strong, but Marcus advises us, look within. Let no one else's actions disturb your peace. Before speaking, reflect on your own imperfections. Have you never made a mistake yourself? How often do you wish others would show you compassion instead of judgment? In choosing silence, you choose humility. By focusing on your own growth rather than others' flaws, you'll find more peace and less need for criticism. In times of conflict can feel like a battle where words become weapons. But Marcus Aurelius teaches that silence can often be the most powerful response. Imagine being in an argument where emotions are high. Every fiber of your being wants to shout, to defend yourself, to prove the other person wrong. But in those moments, consider this: silence can diffuse tension faster than any sharp retort. Marcus wrote, "It is not the actions of others that disturb us, but our own judgments about them. When faced with conflict, take a step back, pause, breathe, and let the urge to retaliate pass. Silence allows you to regain your composure, to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. By holding your tongue, you can often transform a potentially explosive situation into an opportunity for understanding." When you're afraid of being alone. Narrator: solitude can be one of the most uncomfortable experiences in today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world. Many of us are so accustomed to constant stimulation, whether it's social media, conversations, or background noise, that we rarely take the time to sit in silence with ourselves. But the great Stoic philosophers, especially Marcus Aurelius, saw immense value in solitude. It wasn't something to be feared. Rather, it was a space for deep reflection, growth, and self-discovery. Marcus Aurelius would often retreat into himself, using moments of solitude to contemplate his thoughts, actions, and the direction of his life. He once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." In these words, we find an invitation to embrace solitude, not as a sign of loneliness, but as a pathway to inner peace. Consider this. When was the last time you turned off all distractions and simply sat with your thoughts? For many, this silence can be unnerving because it brings up unresolved feelings, doubts, and fears. But it is precisely in this discomfort that the potential for growth lies. When you are alone, without the influence of others' opinions, you can finally confront your true self. Think of solitude as an opportunity to reconnect with your values, to reflect on your journey, and to clarify your purpose. It's a time to ask yourself questions like, am I living the life I truly want? And, are my actions aligned with my principles? By practicing silence in these moments, you can strengthen your sense of self and build resilience. This is the silence that Marcus Aurelius spoke of, a silence that fosters wisdom, clarity, and self-mastery. The next time you feel that itch to fill the silence with noise or distraction, resist the urge. Instead, embrace the quiet. It is in that silence that you will find the most honest conversation you can ever have with yourself, when words won't change anything. Narrator. There are times in life when speaking up, no matter how well-intentioned, simply won't change the outcome. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, often spoke about focusing only on what is within your control and accepting what is not. Marcus Aurelius took this concept to heart, teaching that our energy is best spent on actions that are effective, rather than on words that fall on deaf ears. Imagine trying to convince someone to change their deeply held beliefs or arguing with someone whose mind is already made up. You may pour out your thoughts, but the result is often frustration on both sides. Marcus Aurelius would advise, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to change others, focus on leading by example. This is where the wisdom of silence shines through. In situations where words are likely to escalate conflict or fall on closed ears, remaining silent can be a powerful statement. When faced with resistance or stubbornness, silence is not a sign of defeat. It's a recognition of reality. By choosing silence, you preserve your energy, maintain your peace, and avoid unnecessary conflict. Think of a time when you were caught in a heated debate that went nowhere. The more you spoke, the more entangled you became in arguments that only drained you. What if instead you had chosen to listen quietly, to nod without agreeing, or to simply walk away? Sometimes silence is the best way to demonstrate your understanding that some battles aren't worth fighting. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. By refraining from unnecessary debates or fruitless arguments, you exercise a profound level of self-control. Remember that silence can speak louder than words. It conveys a message that you are unbothered, that you refuse to be drawn into petty quarrels, and that you are focused on your own path. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these lessons. And remember, comment below with "Silence is my strength" if you're committed to practicing the virtue of silence in your life. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, stay strong, stay silent, and stay stoic.